Day 2 of Operation Protective Edge saw the destruction of the only power plant in Gaza and targeting of the home belonging to Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. There's also been an increase in Air Force and artillery strikes by the IDF, as well as armed clashes with Hamas terrorists. IBA's Margot Dukevich has more in this report.
Israel deepened its ground operation in Gaza today after Hamas violated the ceasefire yesterday by firing rockets at Israeli communities, mortar shells at soldiers gathered at the Gaza border, and attempting to infiltrate kibbutz Nachal Oz. 10 soldiers were killed in the aftermath of yesterday's Hamas attacks, bringing the number of IDF soldiers and officers killed in Operation Protective Edge to 53. Palestinians said Gaza's only power station in Nuseirat was knocked out in an Israeli strike, setting it on fire with thick black smoke covering the area. Troops on the ground continued blowing up Hamas-attacked tunnels and intensifying operations against the terrorist organization. Gun battles erupted between soldiers and Hamas gunmen in a tunnel shaft in the Shujaiya neighborhood. The army also called on Palestinians east of Khan Yunis to evacuate their homes and move towards Gaza City. Artillery units pounded sites in Gaza and the Air Force hit targets in northern Gaza. Early this morning, the empty home of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was destroyed. Throughout the day, sirens warning of incoming rocket fire sounded in communities near the Gaza border, Ashkelon, Ashdod and other areas in southern Israel. Yesterday and last night, Hamas fired rockets into communities near the Gaza border, as well as Ashkelon, Ashdod and Beersheva, Hadera, Caesarea, the Haifa area, and before dawn today, Gush Dan and the coastal plain. Late yesterday afternoon, 4 soldiers were killed and 6 wounded when a mortar shell exploded next to a group of soldiers that had gathered on the border with Gaza.
We have announced that 4 soldiers were killed in a mortar attack from the Gaza Strip. It just goes to show that what Hamas have been doing throughout the day, which they supposedly declared a ceasefire, they were taking all of the preparations in order to carry out further attacks against the state of Israel and against its civilians.
Shortly after, 4 to 7 armed terrorists attempted to infiltrate kibbutz Nachal Oz via an attack tunnel. The terrorists fired an anti-tank rocket at a watchtower, hitting the barracks below, killing 5 soldiers. A soldier opened fire at the terrorists as they attempted to snatch soldiers' weapons and bodies, killing 1 of the terrorists. The rest fled back into Gaza. For hours, residents of the kibbutz were asked to remain inside their homes until security forces completed searching the area to ensure no armed terrorists had entered. Military officials said the terrorists surfaced from the tunnel located between the kibbutz and the Kani border crossing some 150 meters inside Israel, but failed to reach the kibbutz. The Hamas gunmen were armed with explosives, anti-tank rockets, assault rifles and rounds of ammunition. Military officials probing the attack said the army knew of the tunnel's existence.
Yeah, the IDF prevented and foiled an infiltration from Gaza via a tunnel at the community of Nachal Oz this evening. Indeed, when we noticed the terrorists trying to infiltrate, the forces engaged and killed 1 of the terrorists.
Another soldier was killed in gun battles in Khan Yunis yesterday when terrorists fired an anti-tank rocket at the bulldozer he was driving and then attempted to snatch his body. Soldiers engaged in gun battles with the terrorists killed 8 and captured 2. Chief of Staff Benny Gantz last night warned Gazans to keep away from Hamas, saying failure to do so will put them in harm's way. The army also rejected Hamas claims that Israel had hit the Shifa hospital and Shati refugee camp last night, killing at least 10 Palestinians.
The IDF has nothing to do with these incidents. Both cases, both of the Shifa hospital and on the incident on the beach camp, were nothing to do with the IDF. Basically, what we know is that Hamas and other terrorist organizations launched rockets from within the Gaza Strip, and they actually struck these 2 locations, killing and injuring Palestinians.
The IDF called on residents in Zaytun and Jabalia to evacuate their homes shortly after artillery pounded the area and the Air Force resumed its strikes. Palestinians reported that the Hamas Al-Aqsa television station was also hit, but said broadcasts continued. The Air Force conducted some 150 strikes on Gaza terror sites overnight. More than 1,100 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza and thousands injured since the military operation began 3 weeks ago. A day after Operation Protective Edge claimed the highest Israeli death toll since the campaign began, Day 22 saw the IDF deepening its activities in Gaza and a senior military officer calling on the political echelon for decisive orders on where the campaign should go from here. Margot Dukevich, IBA News.